Okay, real quick, going to talk to you guys about circles. A lot of this stuff is not super difficult. We've done this in the past. But our standard form for the equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And the things that we need to know about this is h and k make up your center. And then this r over here makes up our radius. So when we graph these circles, you're going to need to know what the center of the circle is so that we can plot the center of the circle. And then we're going to need to know what the radius is so we know how far it is from that center to the edges. Okay? So, starting out, I've got, what is the radius and the center of the following circle? So I've got x minus 13 squared plus y plus 5 squared. So, if I try to figure this out here, okay, h and k are the centers of the circle. So the answer that I get for this usually is I get that my center of this circle is negative 13.5. And that is incorrect. The center of the circle is not negative 13.5. So if you guys look at our formula up above here, you guys will see that x minus h is going to be my center. So I have an x minus 13 here. So the center of this circle, the x-coordinate for that center is going to be 13. Okay? Versus this one here, I've got a y plus 5. Okay? Well, if you guys look up here, it's y minus, sorry, should have wrote that in black. It is y minus my k value. So that means for this problem down here, I've got y minus, and then my k value, well, how did I get that to be a positive? Well, that's because my k value was a negative 5. So 13 negative 5 is the center of this circle. So that is my center. So basically, when you guys are finding the center of the circle, what you guys need to remember is you're always going to use the opposite sign of the number that you guys see in there. Okay? Now, how do you find your radius then? Well, remember, our radius squared is over here. So that means that 25 is my radius squared. So if I want to know what just my radius is, I'm going to have to square root that. So my radius is the square root of 25, which is 5. Okay? So we did some stuff with circles while on quarantine, or if I had you in class 2 years ago, we definitely did stuff with circles. So hopefully that sounds pretty familiar to you guys. I'm going to go through how to graph just 4 different circles up here. Okay, so we've got x plus 1 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 9. If you guys want to graph these circles, the first thing that you need to do is you need to identify what the center and what the radius is. So remember, our standard form is x minus. So if I have an x plus 1, that means I have an x minus a negative 1 squared plus a y minus 3 squared equals 9. Okay? So the center of my circle is going to be negative 1, 3. And then in order to find my radius, I'm going to square root my 9. What is the square root of 9? The square root of 9 is 3. Okay? So we all should be good. Center, radius. So now I need to graph this thing. Okay? So my center is going to be at negative 1, 3. So I've got my center right here. And then I know that my radius is 3. So if my radius is 3, I'm going to use that to put 4 other points up here. I'm going to move from my center up 4. I'm going to move to the right 4. I'm going to move to the left 4. And I'm going to move down 4. Okay? And once I have my 4 points, I'm going to draw my circle. And whoops, I missed one of the dots there. My bad. Okay? When you guys draw your circles, you need to have your center. And you do not need to have your center labeled, but I need to see your center. I need to see the 4 points on the edges. And then rather than having you guys label the points, all I want you to do is I want you to draw a line out to the edge of your circle and label it as a radius of 3. Okay? So we're going to work a couple more of these. Skip through this. Okay? Oh my gosh. Guys, I am so sorry. I just realized that this has a radius of 3. I'm really sorry. I just realized that this has a radius of 3, and I was counting up 4 for some unknown reason. I am so sorry. We should have been counting up 3, to the left 3, to the right 3, and down 3. I'm really sorry about that. I don't know where 4 came from. Okay? All right, so this one here, I've got x plus 3, y minus 2. Remember, it's opposite signs, so negative 3, positive 2. Okay? To find our radius, we take the square root of that, so our radius is 4. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and graph this thing then. I need to put my center up there, so at negative 3, 2. And then now this time I do have a radius of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Draw my circle, hit all my points, draw my line to the edge, radius is 4. Okay? So that is graphing a circle. Couple more examples that'll look a little trickier for you guys. Just want to run through them. Okay? X squared plus y squared equals 9. If you guys ever see an x squared or a y squared by itself, what number is in there for that x squared or that y squared? Well, it needs to be a number that's not going to change anything. So x minus what equals x? Well, that would be x minus 0. Y minus what equals y? That would be y minus 0. Okay, so x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared. If you guys ever see just an x squared, that means the x value is a 0. Just a y squared means the y value is a 0. So my center for this one is at 0, 0. And then I've got a radius of 3 and a radius of 3, radius of 3, radius of 3. Draw my circle around. And I need to label my radius. Okay, other potential issues you guys could run into. Again, remember the center, opposite signs. So that's a 2. Opposite signs, that'll be a negative 2. Okay, and then to find my radius, I've got to take the square root, right? So my radius is a square root of 2. Oh, that's going to be hard to graph. If you have a square root of 2, that's where you want to use an approximation. So it's approximately 1.4 something. I don't have my calculator, but something like that. Okay, so when I graph this, I'm going to graph my center, which is at 2, negative 2. Okay, and then I'm going to use my approximation, so about 1.5, about 1.5, about 1.5, about 1.5. Draw my circle. Now, after I draw it, I need to label it. So when I label it, I want to label my radius as a square root of 2. Okay, next video is going to be something new, talk about completing the square. So this is just the simple circle stuff. Hopefully that's a review for you guys.